Hello, everyone. Today is the 20th of September, 2025, and this is the 200th session of Mindfulness for Beginners in English conducted by Nissarana Vanaya. We have hit a big milestone today, and I would like to warmly welcome Venerable Rohini for this session and everyone who's joining via Zoom today, and anyone who may be watching later via YouTube or Facebook or with our download stream. Our program, as usual, will commence with the in-session practice of mindfulness. This will be followed by the talk on today's topic, which is on persistence. This is a continued topic from our previous week. Finally, we will be moving on to our reports that we have received from everyone. And then if we have time, we will move on to questions towards the end. To begin today's session, session on the practice on mindfulness, I now invite Venerable Rohini.
Thank you, Sonali. Hello, everyone. So today, it's nice to hear that 200 the sessions. It's good to hear the progress. So today we are going to do mindful walk. So everyone know if there is any new one, so I will just explain what to observe and how we are going to do the mindful walking session. So first of all, we need to find a proper place to walk. So proper place means natural place is the best. The sand path is the best, but grass or natural earth is also good. But if you can't find a place like that, even on tile floor or any floor is okay. But don't forget to remember that the best is the natural environment, natural floor. So wherever you are find for now, wherever you are find to walk on, so just need to know at least 10-15 steps. If you can go back and forth, that is good. Longer the best. So however, if you can find 10-15 steps to walk up and down, so that is okay. So when you find the place like that, the best thing is to remove all furniture or anything that can disturb your walk. So in that sense, the disturbances are limited. So if you find that kind of place, then you need to stand at one end and observe your body. We can call it as body scanning. So how you feel while you are standing. So that is the purpose. When you observe like that, so usually when we are not mindful, when we are not practicing mindfulness, so our mind is wandering around. So that right now also you had that kind of mind. So when you start to walk, it is easy for you to keep your attention on standing posture rather than walking. So that is why we always says, if you can stand in one corner and one end and observe your body, how you feel your body while you are standing, how you feel your weight, how you feel the surface. So likewise, whatever you feel, maybe you have some ache and pains. So if you feel like that, so just observe. So likewise, keep your observation or keep your attention on your body. And when you are successful or when you feel that, okay, now I am ready, so then you can walk. How you walk up and down. So when you walk, there is no any special speed that your body will understand what is the speed right now you can walk for mindfulness practice. So sometimes you can walk little fast, sometimes you can have to walk slow. So it depends on you, it depends on your, sometimes it mood, sometimes the environment. So it doesn't matter how fast or how slow you walk. You just need to walk and observe walking body. When you walk, how you feel. It is not like when you are standing. It is not like when you are sitting. Or it is not like when you are doing something else. So it's a standing and sitting, and those are quiet postures. And even lying down is also the same. But when you are walking, it is energetic. Your eyes are open, so you can see things. Also, you can feel your body, and your mind is wandering at the same time with your thoughts and feelings. And there are some pains, maybe. So sounds can interrupt you. So those things will disturb you, and those things are available for you. So everything is open. So that is a little challenge, but most of people like this because it is energetic and you don't feel sleepy or you don't feel boring. So walking up and down is, most people like that walking up and down for mindfulness practice. So what you need to do, you need to observe the body. While you are observing the body, walking body. So maybe you feel the walking body weight shift from one side to the other, or you can feel the surface where you walk, where you touch. Or many things you can feel. So it depends on the individual as well. So when you feel those things, you can observe it, how you feel. And sometimes your mind will shift or move away from your object, and maybe the mind is wandering with thoughts. When that happens, not to worry. Main thing is not to worry. Don't worry about wandering mind. Whenever it come back to the body, just observe it. Just think, okay, now it is with my body. Now it is time for me to observe it rather than thinking of wandering mind. So mentioning that, we will do some walk and come back after little walk. Thank you, everyone. Okay, everyone. Thank you for doing the mindfulness walk. So I hope you had a beginning nice mindfulness practice. Over to you, Sonali.
Thank you, Venerable Rohini. So next on the agenda is the talk on today's topic. The topic we're discussing this week is persistence, which is something we've discussed a few weeks back on our 6th September session, and we will continue on that today. So to do this, I now invite Venerable Rohini again.
Thank you, Sonali, again. Hello, everyone. So our topic is persistence. So simply, if we get the meaning of persistence, it is just not giving up. So even when things get hard, if someone can not to give up, that is persistence. So continuing the work, continuing the project, continuing your idea towards the goal is persistence. So it is, I think it is like birthright. So we all usually we have that skill, at least the bud of the skill we have, but we need to sharpen them. We need to practice more and more with the hard work, and we need to practice with the day-to-day life. Then we can get it as a skill. So the skill is like a some people can have highest IQ. So here actually poster write-up is also from Einstein. It is not that I am so smart. It is just that I stay with problems longer. So the Einstein's quote is mentioned here. So that is that. Usually we have kind of higher IQ. Mostly people have, but most people doesn't have that kind of persistence or that kind of EQ. We name EQ. EQ is like social skills. So that is why most of the time we fail, even for practicing mindfulness or other projects, other work, day-to-day activities or other goals. So some of the reasons, the main reason is without persistence, we can't do it. So we need to carry on our effort, the right effort towards our goals, toward the path of our goals. We need to carry on that effort. To carry on that effort, we need to have that kind of skills, the persistence, endurance, those skills we should have. So the persistence is very important for that reason, because usually it helps you to finish your whatever you start. And in that sense, if you are not a failure most of the time, then you feel you are stronger and more confident. So that is also important in our lives. If we have some kind of confidence before we start some works and in the middle of doing some work, and the end, if we can carry the same confidence, at least without giving up, that is so important. The persistence is important, that sense as well. And the other thing is, it's really leads you to success, even though you are not smartest person, because everybody doesn't have higher IQ. But even though you are not the smartest, but you can lead to success. You can lead your life to success. You can lead your projects, involvements, goals up to the success. the thing is the persistence. For me, I feel it includes the endurance, because without endurance, you can't pursue your work. To keep the persistence going on and on, you have to have endurance. And that endurance can be towards people, places, and things. Those are outside factors. But within yourself, sometimes the self-criticism is so hard. So against the self-criticism, you have to have kind of endurance as well. And then you have to have perseverance. Otherwise, you can't carry on because if every work has disturbances, every work has distractions. So when that happens, if you can't have, or if you don't have perseverance and endurance, you can't keep the persistence on and on. And you need to have effort also. In Buddhism, the Dhamma scripts, according to the Buddha, 37 enlightenment factors are there. So out of 37, 9 places, Buddha mentioned the effort. So the effort also helpful for persistence. And the faith. If you have faith on yourself, you can do it. Or I can do it. So that also important for persistence. And the determination. If you have the determination to success or fulfill this work, then also it is easy for you to persist or keep on and on the persistence on your projects or on your work. So that in that sense, we need to develop all endurance, perseverance, and self-criticism, and the faith about you, and the determination. So maybe there are more other things you can adapt. So that according to the quote, Einstein's examples. So because the quote is from Einstein, if we go for Einstein's, he's a very smart person, but he always says he didn't give up on hard problems. He mentioned it, that is why this quote comes, because he had very good projects, very huge projects actually. It is so important for the world. Even now we use those outcome of those projects. So he never give up when the when the hardness is there, when the problem is getting harder and harder. He never give up, and he look for other solutions or other ways of to get the solutions. Likewise, he never give up. He believed that sticking with problems is more important than being a very smart person. In here, nowadays, we talk about EQ and the IQ. So the EQ is emotional quotient. Emotional quotient is like, it is like, how do you call it? Navigating, if you can navigate in a complex social relationships, if you have empathy towards yourself as well as towards others, if you have self-awareness, and if you have achieving well-being, personal well-being, then that is EQ. And IQ is cognitive abilities, such as we can say logical reasoning, problem solving, analytical skills. So then one can say, okay, these are the things we need to work on, or we need to have when we are working on a project, or when we are working on a hard goals. The analytical skills, reasoning and problem solving, all those things. But if you can't keep on keeping social relationships in life, you can't do most of the work. If you don't have empathy, if you don't have self-awareness. Even though you have higher IQ, without those things, you can't work on. So EQ is so important. So one of EQ is persistence. Because even though you have very high IQ, you can solve the problems, and you have some analytical skills, but you can't do all the works alone. You have to have some kind of relationship with other colleagues, social network, and in a family. So all those skills develop with EQ. So you can develop those things. That is the most important thing. We can develop this. So IQ is usually we think that is we born with that. In that sense, we can't. That is the idea. It was before, but now after mindfulness practice, there are a lot of paper articles or research articles published that mindfulness change the brain. So when the brain change, EQ and IQ both are changing. So it is up to us whether we are going to change it or whether we are ready for changing our IQ and EQ both. Not only Einstein's, I remember the Wright brothers, when they, so maybe 1,000 times, more than that, they try to do that. They try to success. But it took so long them to get the successful journey. And Thomas Alva Edison, who invented the light bulb. So I think he has a quote, something like that, something same to this one. Genius is 1% out of the success, and the inspiration is the 99% of perspiration. So it is. There are similar quotes in many places, and many people said so, because that is so important. Without IQ, we can't carry on, or we can't be a successful person. For example, I can say that just imagine doctors, medical doctors. So if one is maybe both are in how do you call it? First class doctors. I mean, they graduated with first class. Both. Two doctors, both graduated with first class. But one is successful in practice, the other one may not be successful in practice. Because if the one doctor or the one who has social skills, he talk to patients nicely, and he welcome patients, and he is kind and empathetic. So that person can be more successful than the other person who is just keeping the highest level of knowledge, but he will not be successful because of lack of that social skills, the empathy, the self-awareness, all those things. So how to be persistent is also important because of that. So if we have a big problem or big task to do or big project to work on, so we can keep the big project as small steps, short time periods. For example, if we are practicing mindfulness, it is a big project. So we can keep short periods. Like today we did 15 minutes mindful walk, like that. And then we need to have an open mind to try new ideas. So there's a Zen story about salt and water. And it is in Buddha's script also, Tripitaka, as a sutta. The salt and water is, if you put one crystal of salt, a very little one, and if you put it in a cup of water, and if you dissolve it, it is so salty that if you can't drink that water. But if you go and put that same crystal of salt into the pond, but pond will not get that salty taste. So that is what Buddha said, okay, if you have a problem, so if you know very little, then it is a really problem. But if you know many things, there's a problem, but you have a lot of skills, you know many things, then you can solve that problem with many ways. So likewise, if you are open enough to be very new ideas, and if you are have open mind, it's also easy to practice persistent or having that kind of skills. And then the other thing is, if you can remember when you are in a hardship, if you can remember whenever you are successful, how you get that success. If you can remember those things, you can memorize. Okay, I was so successful before. Why cannot be right now? So you can bring that, how do you call it? Self-awareness or self-criticism into positive way. And you need to understand, or we need to understand, everything has a time. Everything takes time and effort. So those are things when we practice, we need to consider, or we need to think about. So especially we need to have persistence to cultivate mindfulness also. So if I talk about that, the cultivating mindfulness develops awareness. If we can continue or consistent with practicing mindfulness, then we can be more aware of our thoughts, our emotions, our bodily sensations, non-judgmentally, especially non-judgmentally actually. Because if we have judgmental thoughts towards my thoughts or my emotions, then we are not mindful. So if we can continue having a consistent mindfulness practice, then we can be more aware of those our thoughts and emotions. Then we can understand who I am. So that is the foundation for self-awareness. So the self-awareness is like a forerunner for everything. When you are aware about you, then you can understand you. That means you can reduce the self-criticism. So reducing self-criticism, you can allow yourself to approach more challenges. Because if you think about your work, if you think about yourself right now, most of the time what we have mostly, our self-criticism is the most or the best, biggest, how do you call, enemy or challenge. The self-criticism, rather than others criticize you, the self-criticism is so harmful. If you can avoid or if you can neglect or for up to a certain extent, then it is easy for you to be a successful person. So because if you can neglect those self-criticism, then you can forget it and then you can continue. So once you have self-criticism, then you can't continue, then you are trapped in there. Trapped in the self-criticism thoughts, emotions. So in that sense, the consistent mindfulness practice is so important. And it is so important for building resilience as well. You know, when you remember, by repeatedly returning to the present moment. So when you do walking meditation, your mind gets distracted from thoughts, from sounds, from pains, all those things. Whenever distracted happen, when it's come back to the body sensation or the present moment, when you come back, when you take your mind back to the present moment repeatedly, even when your mind is wandering, even whenever it come back, if you can be happy, if you can develop the ability to handle the stress. So whenever you have the difficult circumstances, you can be effective person to solve that problem. So likewise, when you do walking, so the distractions will happen. So you are not worried about the distraction. Whenever it happens, you just ignore it, and then whenever come back, your mind come back to the main object, you are happy. If you continue like that, so the self-criticism is low, and you can use it, because that practicing more and more, the resilience is building up within you. So that build up resilience you can use for other works, in day-to-day activities, in your projects, in your difficulties. And the other thing is, when you have consistent practice, you are less reactive. Emotional triggers usually you are not reactive to the emotional triggers. And mostly you are learning how to observe them without overwhelm. These are built up with practicing mindfulness. If you need to practice, that means you need to practice regularly. Consistent practice is so important to build the resilience. That emotional resilience is so important for day-to-day life and all other works, and continuation for other works, and how you feel, how you interact with when something happens, whenever the difficulties come towards yourself. So those resilience is something very important, and that is a part of persistence as well. So persistence and resilience, for me, I feel like it is like there is a reciprocal connection. So if someone can build up resilience through the mindfulness, that person can be build up the persistence as well. And also it fosters the balanced mind. Because if you have a correct perspective, then your mind is having a good effort or balanced effort towards that. So that means everything comes to the persistence, a good persistence or good skill of persistence to develop. And for that, we need to practice regular. So regular practice is very, very important. The mindful walk, mindful sitting, mindful day-to-day activities. So until you get it as a habit, it is very important. And when you get it as a habit, then there is no one need to involve with that. And it is a habit. That means early in the morning when you brush up your teeth, it is a habit. So likewise, if you can keep mindfulness practice as a habit, then you can have a persistence to practice the mindfulness. I'm not talking about other projects and other things. You can, if you are practicing the mindfulness, you will naturally develop the skill of persistence towards the other works. So I think there are many people here who experience those experiences. So once in a while I come here and talk with them, and accordingly I can say that. And the other thing is, don't try to embrace the distraction. I always say, and Nissarana always says, whenever the distraction happens, don't worry about it. Don't embrace the distraction. Whenever we think about it, the mind goes away often. So you need to accept it. The distraction, you need to accept it rather than trying to get rid of it. Whenever you try to get rid of something, the mind is doing the same thing again and again, like the stubborn child. So whenever you say no, then the child like to do again and again the same thing. So likewise, so if you can accept it, then the mind will come back quickly to the object. And especially if you can, even though your mind is wandering, if you can acknowledge it, it is so difficult. It is so difficult to acknowledge the wandering mind. But still, if you can acknowledge it, it will come back to the object, main object, with whatever your object. Maybe it's the breath, maybe it is the walking. Whatever it is, it will come back to the object soon. That the gentleness towards yourself is so important, because sometimes people says, most of the time people says, okay, out of 1 hour, out of 30 minutes, only I could be with the breath for 5 minutes. And all the 25 minutes are lost. That's what they think. But instead, if you know how it lost, if you know what is happening during the other 25 minutes, that means you are mindful. So that self-criticism is so, you need to avoid those self-criticism, and you need to acknowledge that 5 minutes. That acknowledging the 5 minutes encourage your mind to come back. So the back to the present moment is more important than the other giving up. You know, wherever it distracted with the thoughts, or maybe the pain, or with the sound, or you don't know what has happened, but still that 5 minutes is so important then, because it is the present moment. So rather than giving up the 25 minutes, just acknowledge and just appreciate the 5 minutes. For example, Buddha has had 6 years of difficult period in his practice. Even before he attained Buddhahood, before he enlightened, he had to go through 6 years, but he never gave up. So it is a good example for us, actually. He never gave up, so we should not also. And the other thing is, we need to incorporate with day-to-day life, daily activities. Integrating with daily routines is so important, like brushing the teeth, and like eating or having snack, or sometimes you walk to the bus stop, up to bus stand. So likewise, short things. If you do every day those things, keep it for at least 2 minutes, 3 minutes to practice mindfulness. So then it will become a habit also. So you need to find also to some ways to bring mindfulness attention to everyday activities. So like as I said before, while you're walking, maybe you're taking the dog for walk. So you can use that time also for practice mindfulness. And sometimes you can use if the water is boiling, until when you are waiting for pot to boil, you can be mindful. You can look at the pot, how it go into little bubbles to big bubbles. So there are many things you can watch. So likewise, every simple things, every little things you can use for practicing mindfulness. And the other thing is, you need to dedicate specific time each day for a mindfulness practice. If you are not dedicate the specific time each day, it is so hard to make it as a habit. Maybe it is only for a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes you can use. It's still okay. So if you can use 5 minutes, 5 minutes is enough. Later on, maybe you can increase it for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, little by little. So you need to have really realistic goals. Then the persistence is there. You have to keep the realistic goal. If you can only sit for 5 minutes, don't try to sit for 10 minutes. So 5 minutes is enough in the beginning. So when you sit for 5 minutes, next week you can sit for 6 minutes. So without having any struggle, you can use little by little your time. So in that sense, you are keeping every day, okay, only 5 minutes. So it is so simple. It take only like when you drink cup of tea slowly, it will take 5 minutes. So you can think, okay, only 5 minutes. I will sit for 5 minutes, and then gradually you can see increase up 1 minute by 1 minute. So that is consistency. So if you bring consistency into your life, then the persistent is developed. I think it has how do you call, reciprocal action as well, and establish a routine. Perform your mindfulness practice at the same time, and if you can, the same place. But sometimes maybe you can have some distractions in the place where you practice, then you can avoid those distractions by going to somewhere or going to your room or somewhere. You can use your brain for that. And however, you need to practice the same day, same time. Same time in the same place. That is the most important thing, to keep on consistent, and that will help to develop the skill of persistence. So to end in the talk, I will just I will going to mention the benefit of persistent. It is improve well-being, because sustained mindfulness practice can lead to increased motivation, a sense of purpose, and a greater capacity to handle life's obstacles. So that is so important. Through mindfulness, you can improve your well-being and you can enhance your task. Usually, there are many research. The mindfulness can increase the persistence, and it helpful for difficult tasks to achieve, and it promote the self-awareness, and it is reducing the negative self-talk, and it is important the self-criticism. Yeah, and then the greater executive functions are there also. Regular meditation practice, even for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, is so important, and it change the brain and it change the thinking pattern as well. So thank you for listening. I hope I know you all know those things, but when it comes to practice, it is hard. So that is the thing. So remember it. When it's coming to practice, is the persistent is the difficult thing. You know by heart, you know those things are valuable and you know those things are not valuable, but still when the practice, considering the practice, it is so hard to incorporate into the life. So just keep it in mind and practice mindfulness. Keep it as a consistent one. Keep it daily and at least for 5 minutes. So it will give you a skill of persistence together with endurance and all other skills. So those are the skills we need to develop in this to survive in the society as well as to success our lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Rohini. That was something we all needed to hear again. Even though some of it is something we already know, I think we all needed to hear that again. So we will now move on to our next item in the agenda, which is the reports we have received from all of you. We will present it to Manu, and before that, we will go through the beginner's guide, which I think Venerable Rohini just went through most of it herself now. But however, I will quickly run through the guide with you. So for anyone who wants to start or you want to introduce it to someone else, there are two very useful videos that Nissarana Vanaya has had made and introduced to all of us. And I will share all of these links with you on the chat, or if anyone wants it after the session, whoever who needs to send it to a friend or relative, write to us and we will send it over to you. And these two videos, one on mindful walking and the other on mindful sitting, once you have watched them, you can allocate, just like Venerable Rohini just said, allocate a very small amount of time, even if it's 5 minutes, and that is perfect to start. And then, as she just mentioned, increase it minute by minute every week into 2 hours of practice in total. So once you have experienced your own experience, we would like to hear that. So Venerable Manuel or Bhante can guide you in your journey of mindfulness. So we want to hear your own experience. It's not a knowledge in mindfulness, it is your own experience. Even if it is a very short amount of time, it is what your own experience is. If it is walking meditation, we'd like to hear about the pressure points or the where the weight was shifted, or if it is sitting meditation, we'd like to hear what your primary object was, whether it is the belly movement or whether it is the text or the warmth and the coldness of the breath on your nostril. So likewise, we'd like to hear very specific details on those things from you. And when you can write to us, you can write to us via the Google form or the email beginnersnv@gmail.com. That email is open to any of you who wants to write to us about new topics or your reports, or even if you want more information on anything. So feel free to write to us via that email for any of those things. So lastly, you can view all the sessions, listen to all the sessions in the Nissarana Vanaya website on this link. And we also live, it is on live on YouTube at the moment as well. And I think the links are also pasted on the Facebook group. So there's many different ways you can approach us and get information as well. So I hope all of you have success in the in the mindfulness meditation. I will now move on to the reports we have received. We have 2 reports received. One quite a short report by an adult. I will start that manual. Mindful walking. I walked observing feet as left and right. I felt hardness of the floor, felt roughness and wetness of the floor. Could observe 5 steps in a length. Mindful sitting. When observing belly movements in one rising, there were 2 minor risings. Mind was all over the place. Could sit in easy pose for 40 minutes. Theruvan Saranai Swamin Wansa. So that's the end of the report, Venerable Rohini. It's a short one.
Thank you, Sonali. He said adult one. Yeah. So actually, for a mindfulness practice, for me, I feel like there's no different from adult to child, because for the practice, we all are beginners. So we all are like child. So no matter whether we are adult or child. Anyway, for me it is a good report because the observation is there, left and right. They observe, and the wetness and the roughness and the steps, 5 steps can walk continuously. So that is very big achievement. So please don't underestimate your achievement. Please don't underestimate your skill. So even for the good practitioner, sometimes we can't walk more than 5 steps. The distractions from thoughts or from sounds can happen. But as long as you know there is a distraction and what kind of distraction I had to face, that is the important thing. So if you know that, so you are in a good place in mindfulness practice. So please don't worry. Keep on like this. You need to practice regularly, then it will, as according to our topic, so you can keep it on and on, and you will develop those skills as well. So practice again and again. If you can, please practice the same day, same time, and same place is also good. But if you can't in the same place, it's not to worry, but same time is good. And just in sitting, don't worry about thoughts. As I said before, just acknowledge. Just if you can look at the thoughts, what you are thinking, that's also good. So by doing that, it will reduce. Sometimes it reduce. So just try to look at the thoughts. What kind of thoughts are disturbing me? So is that sad thoughts or self-criticism or happy thoughts? So what kind of thoughts are there? Then most of the time, thoughts will disappear and you can continue your practice. So try it. And for me, it is a good report. Don't underestimate your skill, please.
Thank you, Venerable Rohini. That is very important for all of us to hear as well. The second report is more of an observation throughout the day. I will start now. Again, it is from an adult. It was noticed that when something is happening, there is an analysis of description of what is going on. A proper name for that is not coming. Even though these happen in blur mode, it is noticeable. It is noticed that this description also fades. Then all vanishes and go to the nature of nothing to say. Gradually, time to time, tiredness arises with this description of things fading. As it is noticed, this system can exist without a description of what is happening. Again, it is noticed that by force, not possible to stop these fading descriptions. As it once vanished, it pops out again. Then it checked why this tiredness and it is reason and the reason behind this. Then it was noticed that it is even in blur mode due to not accepting what is there. Same time, the rejection of description happens as a fading thing. The sentence, this is not a useful description, also fades away. Same time, it is noticed that some kind of description is required to run, but not over. Same time, the description happens where there is a slight fading like or dislike to what is happening. So the solution arises as being with what is there. Accept it as it is to move to the next. So keep things tired or having slight discomfort whenever it comes. Slowly tiredness went away and noticed it moving to the next. It is like things still keep taking place in the background and not with those. It is like detached, distance happens. Then it arose as be familiar with this nature. Then it was noticed still once the description giving nature popped out, but it has become a part of the whole and does not give any discomfort. That is the end of the report.
I can imagine her or his mind according to the report also. I mean, the report is also a talking mind. So I can understand that from the report as well. So anyway, the Loku Swamin Wahanse usually says, we are giving, or someone is writing, keeping the signature for someone else's child. So likewise, thoughts are coming without thoughts without a thinker. The good book for reading. If you can find, read it. Thoughts without a thinker. So there's no thinker. The thoughts come. It is like waves in the ocean or waves in the big lake. You can't stop it. Without waves, there's no ocean. Without waves, there's no lake. So likewise, without thoughts, there's no survival of mind. So mind survive with the thoughts. It is some kind of food for the mind. So there are a lot of thoughts coming without a thinker. So if we going to give a value for all those thoughts, then we are signing for Father's place for a someone else type. So just to ignore it, as I said before in the talk, that negative or positive, whatever it is, if it is not relevant or if it is not valuable, just ignore it. And by writing what we face is also a kind of encouragement to that to happen again and again. Just it is okay to write, but what I'm saying, if you can ignore those descriptions with because there's anyways going come and go, come and fade away, so not to worry about it. When we think about it again and again, it comes again and again. When we having kind of frustration or we are thinking about it or we are talking about it or we are writing about it, then it's so we are fertilizing it. We neutralize, giving nutrition for that thoughts. So we don't need to. Just not only you, we all have that kind of thoughts. If you can observe your mind, Chittanupassana. If you can observe your mind time to time, you will see, even in the early in the morning, just imagine when you wake up with something, maybe a song that was not listened for a long time. That song is come to your mind as soon as you wake up, or you are walking, maybe practicing walking meditation. Still you have a background song running. So that song is not listened. For me, my experience, I'm saying, that song is not listened for maybe 30 years or so. Still that comes without my knowledge and even without a thinker. I have no any descriptions to add for that. Why I don't know why it come even. So likewise, there are many things happen, many thoughts comes. Not to worry, just ignore. Please try to not to do the self-criticism. And whatever the benefit for you, accept it. That is the main thing. Whatever the benefit, whatever your mind is keeping in high position or in a positive manner, accept it. Whatever comes negative way, just ignore it. Because it doesn't make any good for me. So I hope that person get the answer. If not, please ask again, please.
Thank you, Venerable Rohini. So that brings us to the end of the report. Now it's the time to open to everyone for any questions you have. Please raise your Zoom hand and I will let you unmute yourself and ask the questions. Till there are any hands raised, Venerable Rohini, I thought I will put my input onto that as well, to the last report and your comments. I also have found myself writing a report while meditating or towards the end of meditating. I have found myself, I very rarely write reports, I must say. I don't actually write reports, but I have found myself thoughts process in writing reports so many times. while I'm meditating. It's like I'm having my own monologue inside, criticizing my meditation.
Yeah, but when Loku Swamin Hanse used to say, it is good. Because when you are doing that about your practice, so when you feel your breath or when you feel your foot, when you do left and right, so you are saying, okay, I can write like this and write like this. So it's a good thing. It has a description, and it is a good thing. It is not bad. So it will go away once you start to write. So start to write. Even you don't need to produce it for Bante or someone to clarify. Just write it down. Just write down your experience. For everyone, I'm saying, if you can write down your experience in a book as a collection of experience, you will find it is so helpful. It is so helpful that inner talk will stop first of all. The second thing is you can see the progress, or you can have a how do you call, collection of data. So that will help also. There's a helpful manner, or there's a help from that report for the continuation. So writing report is so important. That clarify the practice. Because you want to do that. That is why you are thinking, okay, I can write this, I can write that. So that you wanted to do, and you are not doing. So instead of ignoring it, if you can start to write, so you will find the progress actually. For everyone, I am saying, not only here, even for at my sessions, I always ask them to write down. No, don't need to produce, don't need to post it. But still, writing is making, you can see in the beginning there is I, my leg, my foot, my tummy. So there's I and my and mine in the beginning. So you will see when you write more and more your reports, there's I and mine is fading away. Instead, only before if I said my head, now I would say only the head. No, my and I, without any, I mean, even it is not your intention. It's naturally fade away with the practice. So please write, start to write. Keep a diary.
Thank you, Venerable Rohini. I think you should start there. Anyone else with questions? I don't see any raised hands. Okay, there is a raised hand. Hi, Anthi. Would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Thero Vanaya.
Everyone, Saranai.
Vanaya, I am the one who presented the last report. So I want to mention this, Vanaya. What happened is when writing reports, one time I started to notice that what is checking the something like what to write, that also fade away. So at once became like everything vanished. Then it went to nothing to speak, nothing to say. Then it came like now it goes like I can't communicate, but something, but how to say that whether this journey is where going is right or wrong. But then it was like then using that the paid in thing to check, it is known that we are the paid in thing only checking regarding the practice. Then that also when see it is padding, and at once it went to the nothing to say, just it's like that, can't express anything. So then notice what happening is then using this padding way, that padding thing to check, it is known that using the padding thing only checking what is happening and writing reports, then came like whether be silent. or whether express something via the reports. But known that we are going to use, it's still going to use, it is a paid, it is notice. Then it is arises this system even without any kind of giving any description what is going on. It's like can't it is possible, nothing to express, it is possible, it goes its own. So then that slightly notice that a tiredness arises. Why? Because there is something, there's auto happening is there, nothing to do with it, is not control, can't control or do it, it happens automatically. Then there's something like distract. This is very blur mode, very far away happening, but it is like get and check still. Then what happen is slight discomfort arising, with that also taking this what is happening there and giving some some, oh, this thing happened like that, is some kind of thing is going on, but nowhere it is coming, and so then discomfort arises. Then this is happening is then to write reports and still writing, but checking the what is happening. At once it go to the side, nothing to express. Why he's still writing? Action happen inside. Then happen. Then arises because this is unknown pathway. The guidance of the and the trust also need to be built. So express. Okay, fine. Short way like that. And then finally, what arises in this like and without any kind of a description giving, it's like nothing. So that thing also can't, still there's some slight like or dislike inside, that's why it's still going with the things. So while noticing it, accepted that rises, it's accept that even the block mode what is happening, so accepting it, it happens like okay, accepted. Then finally like happen like that also became part of again, it's like it went. That's
Yeah. What I want to say, if Hanse usually when you want to add into there. So while you are trying, or myself in, even the description is fade away, it is so hard on me. Why? Because the myself is not there. So the I, ego or conceit is blaming. Why? Why that is fading away? Because myself is not there. If I not there, then no one to grab it. Then it fade away. So if you want to have that clear mind, polluted with myself, polluted with I. So that is the complaint. So I am asking, if you don't have anything to say and there is no description to describe things and all the descriptions are fading away, is it good or bad? Auntie?
Yes, Vanaya, it is okay, it is good. It means like there's like I want to present it like this inside this like what is going happening. Now I am going to state like can't communicate, but there's something like trying to communicate also. That is I accept Vanaya.
Yeah, the thing is, communication means something distracting your mind. Communication means something unnecessary things comes to your mind. So if you can't communicate, that's good. For me, I mean, how about you? What do you think? So
Uh,
there is a conversation going on, and if you are only a listener, do you think it's good or bad? For me,
uh,
I think it is good.
Yes, yes, when you, I feel like nothing to express, then I am think that is come like there's something like to try to express that also fade away. What is happening? Like there was like this inner thing I want to put it to the report and say express what is going through.
You need to listen to Lokuswami says days and other old ones. I mean, so he says, Venerable Katakurunde Jnanananda Swami Nahanse, he used to say that when your mind is clean, you like to buy a packet of poo from the supermarket because it is because the mind is cleaning, but still the conceit is there and the egoistic feeling is there. So you want to have something to express, something to say, but still you can't. So you don't like to accept it. So that is the problem. You don't like to accept the cleansing mind, clean mind. So just try to ignore or just try to avoid that kind of negative thoughts. Okay, I mean fading away is good.
Yeah.
Just imagine like that. Even Buddha says. So when people complain, the monks complain, the nuns complain about saying, okay, I feel like bored. So no any no any going on. So I feel bored. Then Buddha said because of meditation. So like what you said. So sometimes people say feel like okay I am just nothing. I don't have anyone and no one is care about me and feel like that. Then Buddha said don't put that word for that. When you feel like that, you accept it as a happiness. I accept it as a rightness. Give it a different name. So rather than giving that negative names, just give it something positive name. Because usually we um, give negative names. Just imagine if I am sick. Yeah, before I go to a specialist, I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's a cancer. Maybe it is that. Maybe it is all the worst case scenario is come to the first. Isn't it, Sonali? Usually it is like that. So don't give that. Just before go to the specialist, think it is as just a cold, flu. Maybe a specialist decided whether it is a cancer or not. It doesn't matter. But right now, just think about it as just a cold. So if you can think like in that way, it's easy to go, easy to keep the persistent.
Yeah. Manu, one thing more that there's a nothing like identifying this is positive or negative. That it is like there something is there, and but want to express that now I have to stop writing reports. There is something like in this thing how to express like nothing to express also, and but inside checking like whether can go alone like without
Why don't you think this is also a report?
uh,
You think at, okay, the breath, I saw breath in and out, and this is how I saw the in breath, it is not only that is the report, everything is report. When you sit for the mindful sitting or if you do a mindful walk, whatever happened during that half an hour or 1 hour, so it's a report. So maybe you are describing your thoughts, maybe you are describing your mindful breath, or maybe rise and fall of the tummy. Whatever happened during that 1 hour time, it is your report.
yes, Manu, and just the end of the report, I mentioned that accept that, started accepting this part. Then this becomes with the only solution was to accept it, sit with it. That's why discomfort come. Then accepting became like all thing became whole and accepted nothing again blank. Okay.
Yeah, this doesn't matter. Keep on. Accept
Okay.
it. Then will go blank. Accept it again. Time to time, you can analyze it also. It's all a experiment. All are part of experience.
Okay. Thank you so much, Vanaya, for the kindness. Theruvan Saranai.
Theruvan Saranai.
Thank you, Venerable Rohini. Unfortunately, we have now run out of time, so it is now time to end the session. So before we end today's session, we'd like to give some merit to our friend and our previous host, Namanta Tantrige, who passed away a year ago on the 15th of September. I would like to now pass on some merits to him from all of us and our listeners and our participants. And on behalf of all the organizers, I would like to ask if anyone would like to join our organizers to host, to read reports, to do any of the email checking, writing, any of those things, please come forward. We would very much appreciate your help. And at the same time, I would like to thank everyone who has currently been working really hard on the program to bring it every week to you, and hope you're able to help us continue helping us as well. On behalf of all the organizers, I'd now like to thank Venerable Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero for his usual guidance, Venerable Rohini for taking on a sudden session whenever he's not available, and also for the Chief Abbot of Nissarana Vanaya, whose idea was to initiate this program, Venerable Udayagama Dhammajiva Mahathero as well, may they all use this merit to improve their own practice as well. Thank you to everyone who has participated via Zoom and watching via YouTube, or anyone who may be watching later. As usual, our program will come to you at 1 p.m. Sri Lankan time, and may you all have a happy and wonderful, mindful week ahead. I will now end the session for everyone.